Hello, my name is Professor John Benjamin, and this is Game Design and here at West Virginia Wesleyan College. So today we're going to go over geometry brushes and meshes. All right, so what I'd like you to do is go ahead and create a new project. We'll create a game, say next, and we're going to create a blank project, so say next. And we're going to leave all this, make sure that you're saving to your proper folder, and let's just call this brush. This will take us to our default chairs and tables here, but what we want to do is we're going to start a new level. So go File and New Level. And we just want to start with a default level. Here we are. Okay. So let's talk about static meshes and geometry brushes, or the difference. So over here in your Place Actors panel, we have the basic static mesh actors that we've been using, but today we want to talk about geometry brushes. So let's go ahead and just start with one. Let's drag out a box. All right, and then let's go ahead back to basic and let's drag out a regular cube. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the differences between this brush actor and this cube. Brushes are more complex. There's more that you can do to a brush, and we use them to prototype. And so, like I mentioned before, game design is an iterative process where we're constantly creating and testing, building and testing. And so you want to be able to get your idea of your game started, to get the gameplay, the mechanics kind of working before you get all the details in there. And so that's where brushes come in handy, because we can tinker with them and manipulate them without creating them in another 3D program. And then when we're ready to move on, we think things are working, then we just simply swap them out for static meshes that we've created in another program. All right, so some of the biggest differences that it's really important to note here is how much memory they use. So here I've got this cube here, and it's got the default pink color that I've added to it. And if I hold down my Alt key, Option key on a Mac, and I drag this arrow, I can create two of them. But it's just the same data times two. So it's not really taking up any more memory or processing power. So if I do the same thing here with my brush, and I hold down the Alt key on a PC or Option key on a Mac, now I've got twice the data. So there's twice the memory. So this is a 2. So I can have 100 of these, and they're not taking up any more memory than if I had 100 of these. Each one would take up that much space. All right, so that's one of the biggest differences. So these are more complex. They use up more memory. But we use them for prototyping because we can manipulate them a little bit better and kind of create environments a little more quickly and easily. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this box. Okay, and so one of the things I'm going to show you is how you can... Okay, so here we have a geometry brush, a box. And if I select it, you can see it here in the world outliner. It is a box brush. The type of actor it is a brush. So let's now go over here in the Place Actors panel, and notice here at the bottom it can be additive or subtractive. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Subtract and then drag out a second box, and you can see it's transparent. But if I go ahead and I scale it down, and then I move it into here, you can see it's subtracted out of there. So we can really create some really interesting environments really quickly with this additive and subtractive process. So, but I'm going to just go ahead and I'm just going to rename it Box Brush Subtract so I can see it a little bit better. All right, but I want to select the box brush here, and you can see I can change the type from additive to subtractive if I like, and I can do the same thing with box brush subtractive here. So again, we can quickly change it back to additive. All right, let's leave it at subtractive. And some of the other things I can change here about the box brush is I can make it hollow. So if I check that there, now you can see if I move into the box and move around, you can see there's a little lip there because the whole box is hollow. And so let's say I wanted to have a circular door. Let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and select the box brush subtract, and I'm going to change it from a box to a sphere, tetrahedron. All right, so there we have a tetrahedron. But I just want a circular door. So first I'm going to make it a little smaller. So let's just scale it down here. All right, so now we have like a circular doorway. So I want to increase the tessellation, so I'm going to go ahead and make it a little more rounder. Okay, and I'll deselect that, and then so now you hear I've got a box that's hollow, and the doorway is circular. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the other box brushes, like the stairs. So let's start with just a regular linear stair. I'll put it right there. All right, and I think I'm just going to move over here so I can get a look at from a different angle. All right, and now notice it's subtractive, so I want to go ahead and change that. Change subtractive to additive. There we are. And again, here we can have a bunch of really great, simple attributes that we can change. So we can change the length, and we can change the step height, and we can change the number of steps, and then we can add to the first step. So it's making just all the steps go up. We're just adding to the first one. Delete that, and let's drag a curved stair, or let's do a spiral stair. That's fun. All right, so here's our spiral stair, and once again I had subtract checked, so I'm going to have to change it back to additive. All right, let's get to a place where we can look at this a little better. All right, and the same thing, we can change the inner radius, that's the center, and we can change the step width, step height, step thickness, and the number of steps in 360 degrees, or stretch them out. All right, but here's where I increase the number of steps, and that will just keep climbing up into the sky. But the really cool thing here is you can slope the ceiling, so that's the bottom part here, or you can slope the floor, and now you just have sort of a slide. And then you can reverse it from clockwise to counterclockwise. Okay, and that is the brushes, the geometry brushes. So in the next lecture, we'll talk about how to add materials to these brushes.